All right, so everyone, welcome to Kodel Kol Shira in partnership with Bezel.org, and of course Yeshiva Tereshim, Baruch Hashem. And it's Parshas Emor, Emor L'Kehanim, right? The whole beautiful parsha. We're going to go over a few pointers of the parsha, and of course we'll talk a little bit about a little bit about Rashbi and the significance that Rabbi Shimon brought to the world. Unbelievable. And how Rabbi Shimon said with his book, we're gonna be able to take the world into it'll be the book that brings the world into the final geula. Yamkin Nikulosa. We hope so in the Mitzvah Hashem. Okay, so let's go over a few pointers of the parsha. Right. So we start the parsha off with the laws of the Kohanim. Right, the different laws and the regulations for the Kohanim, and the regulations when it comes to the Kohen Gadol, right, regarding their how they have to work on their ritual purity, who they're allowed to marry, and about the service that they would do, their avodah that they would do in the Beis Hamikdash, in the Mishkan, in the Beis Hamikdash, right, in the temple. Okay, and we also have the restrictions of the Kohanim, right? That they can't marry all kind of women. They can't marry an almana and a grusha, right? A Kohen can't marry them. If he does, he's violating a Torah law. It's unbelievable. The Kohanim are on a higher. They're definitely on a higher level, right? On a higher level. Also, we talk about that the Kohanim can't be metaba themselves to dead. Right, and the different things that the Kohen Gadol specifically, he has higher realms of kedusha. We also talked about the holidays. It's unbelievable, right? We have the holidays in the parsha, right? We talked about the different holidays. We talked about the counting of the Omer, which is in Yonah D'Yoma. Right, in Yonah D'Yoma, we're in the middle of the Sfira right now, and it's nice that really the Parshas Emor always falls out somewhere during Sfira, always, and it has Sfira in the Parsha, so it's always something so beautiful to have your in Yonah D'Yoma in the Parsha. Okay, we have and we know that that's the period that goes between Pesach and Shavuos, right? It says Mimochras HaShabbos. Right, you start counting Mimochras Shabbos. We know that we had the Tzedukim. The Tzedukim, they didn't believe in Torah Shebaal Peh, so they said when it says Mimochras Shabbos, they would always count. They would go to the first Sunday, right, to the first Sunday, because Mimochras Shabbos from the day after Shabbos. What's that? That's Sunday, Yom Rishon, right? So that's what they would do. It's so foolish when you don't understand that everything is mamish. Moshe Kibel Torah Misinai, all the Torah. Moshe Rabbeinu took the Torah Shebaal Peh and Torah Shebiksav, Torah Shebaal Peh, and you cannot understand anything of Torah Shebiksav unless you have Torah Shebaal Peh. So I mean the whole premise, what they did was so silly. But okay, either way. And it continues today, right? We still have these the different things going on today. All right, so we know that the Sfira is 49 days, right? And that's the symbolizing the journey that we went from slavery and we come to the Kabbalah Satorah, which is on Shavuos, right? We came out of slavery and we came to the ultimate freedom. The ultimate freedom is the Torah. Right, and that's what we should understand. That the Torah is the most. It frees a person because it gives a person direction. When you have direction in life and you feel purpose in life, life is so meaningful. Right? People think that the Torah is constricting. It constricts them. I can't do this. I can't do that. But they don't realize how much that the Torah really, how beautiful the Torah is. And how empowering the Torah is, and that's really it's what really frees a person. Okay, then we discussed the ideas of Pesach, of course, Shavuos, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, right? The prohibitions right? Rosh Hashanah is the shofar, and Yom Kippur we have the prohibitions, discussing the prohibitions of Yom Kippur, right? And we have Sukkot, right? And also the whole idea of highlighting the significance of the observance of the holidays, right? In other words, if a person doesn't keep the Yom Tovim, they're not considered even a Shomer Shabbos, right? If you keep, we know that Pesach is called Mimachvos HaShabbos. Hakadosh Baruch Hu introduces the holidays with Shabbos. So if a person doesn't keep the holidays, he feels that, I'll do everything, but I won't keep the holidays. Well, that person is not considered a Shomer Shabbos if he's not keeping the Yom Tovim. We have Sukkot, right, and so on. Okay, next thing we have over there in the Parsha, we have this idea of sanctifying time and space, right? We have to sanctify time and space, right? The Yom Tovim are very important because we know that the Yom Tovim are the time that it was from the what do you call it, the Bezdin Hagadol, right? That they would say Mekudesh when they interrogated the witnesses came in, we saw the moon, they interrogated them. If they did, that they made when the Rosh Chodesh was going to be. So the holidays actually fell exactly when we call the holidays, right? In other words, the holidays go by a date, but not Shabbos. Shabbos is a kitcha v'kayama. HaKadosh Baruch Hu sets Shabbos, and that can never be changed. Shabbos is always Shabbos. 7 days, the seventh day is Shabbos. So that's a very important thing to understand, that Shabbos is very, very different than the Yom Tovim. However, if a person doesn't keep the Yom Tovim, it's if he's not keeping the Shabbos as well. Also, it teaches us the idea that we have to sanctify space, right? Take things of physicality and use them for kedusha, right? We take for example the Daled Minim, right? You take the esrog, right? The beautiful esrog, and you take the branches, the willow branches, the hadassim and the aravis, and you take the palm branch, right? And you take these things and you make them holy. You take the twigs and whatever you're going to use to make the schach. Take physical things and make the walls for your sukkah. Make the schach for your sukkah. Take things and physical things and make them holy. Take a horn from a ram, turn it into a shofar. Make something that's mundane, simple, and turn it into something holy. This is what the Torah is teaching us. Right, so we have that in time. We have it in time also. Again, we observe the holidays. We observe Shabbos. The idea of sanctifying time. Then at the end of the parsha, we have this terrible story of the person that was a blasphemer. Right, he cursed Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Right, okay, we know in Mitzri, whatever the case was. Right, in the punishment. The man was executed because he was blaspheming HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and highlighting the importance of respecting HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name. Right, we respect HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name tremendously. Right, if a piece of paper has on it HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name, we don't throw it out. Right, we'll take it, we'll put it with our shemus, we'll do something with it. We're not gonna chas v'sholom defile HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name. We're very careful not to use Hashem's name in vain. Right, we're very careful. As a matter of fact, the Chazal instituted brachas, and we say HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'shemu v'malchus when we say brachas. But if you have suffix brachas, is lahaka, because again, I can't say a bracha, I can't utter HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name unless I have a purpose for doing it. Okay, and then the Torah ends off with the idea of compensation for damages. Right, the person has to pay. If he was mazik, he caused nezek. He was a mazik. He caused some damage, so the person has to pay. All right, we have the idea of the eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, and so on. It all comes from this parsha. These are the main highlights. The main highlights of this parsha. So there's many things to speak about. Also, the idea of this idea of like Ba'omer that's coming up. Mamish. We should have we should see big Yeshua's B'schus Rashbi, and it's fascinating to see when you, especially in Eretz Yisrael, how there is such a draw to the tzaddik Rabbi Shimon from even secular people that are not necessarily Shema Torah mitzvahs, but they feel this draw. They feel a draw to come to the tzaddik, and they'll go through a lot of challenges in order to be able to be there. And they feel it's so important. We'll discuss why is it so important. What's the idea of the hadlaka? Why do we do a hadlaka? Why do we light a bonfire for Rabbi Shimon, and so on and so on? So let's learn inside some things, and then we'll talk about things from outside, and let's see how this goes. Okay. Okay, so far so good, Rabbi Yehuda?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Here's a beautiful teaching. I want to start off with this beautiful teaching that we spoke about. V'loi tischalu Hashem kodshi v'nigdashti b'soich b'nei Yisrael. Right? Don't defame HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? Loi tischalu Hashem kodshi, don't define my name, right? They don't, right? But you should make v'niskatchi b'soich b'nei Yisrael. So look at this beautiful teaching here from the Heilige Rabbi Eli Melech Milezhensk. So the Rebbe says like this, he brings this down, it's beautiful. Rabbi Eli Melech Milezhensk, kol yudoresh u'mevakesh me'esh anshe shleimai. He would always request from his followers, from his people, ki b'chol eis shel batola yiu kol men yaneim b'posek v'niskatchi b'soich b'nei Yisrael. The person was sitting around, and I don't know, maybe he was you're waiting for the bus, you're waiting for your plane, or whatever it is. You're waiting. You don't have anything. So he says you can do something. Think about this idea of niskachi b'soich b'nei Yisrael. She'iyah mitzvah sasei de'araisa v'zel l'shoinai, because it's a mitzvah de'araisa. This is a mitzvah de'araisa to make yourself holy. V'niskachti b'soich b'nei Yisrael. V'chol eis v'chol rega she'adam pani ve'enai oisik b'torah kedosha. Anytime a person is free, and he's not involved at that moment in the study of Torah. Ubefrat be'eshu yoishe. He's sitting. Guy's sitting. A bittul. He's sitting within bittul. He's not doing anything. He's daydreaming. Levada. He's by himself. Bechedra, in his room. The guy's alone, all alone in his room. Or sheikhev al mitasa. Or the guy's lying in his bed. Ve'ena yochel lishon. And the guy said, it happens sometimes, right? You're trying to go to sleep and you can't sleep, right? You're trying to go to sleep, it doesn't work. So what does he say? Yaharer b'mitzvahs v'niskatchi b'soich b'nei Yisrael. Think about this mitzvah of to sanctify myself amongst Klal Yisrael. What does this mean? He gives you the example. Yidme b'nafshay. Imagine Yitztayim v'machshavtai, and make a picture in your mind. Imagine this. Ki'ilu eish gedoyle v'nayra bayeres lefanav. There's a great fire burning in front of you. V'la'avosa aylois ad leva shemayim, and the fire goes all the way up to Shemayim. This fire goes from where you are, and it runs all the way up to Shemayim. Wow, right? V'hu l'shem kedushas Shema Yisbarach shavar es tivai umapil atzmai l'soicha eish al kiddush Hashem. And he feels the holiness. He feels the kedusha. So he feels like he just wants to jump into that fire. He wants to jump into the fire, the eish Torah, the eish kodesh. He wants to jump into that eish kodesh. He wants to jump into that holy fire, right? Unbelievable to think about that for a minute, right? Right? Eish kedoyle v'nayra b'eretz l'shem kedushas Shema Yisbarach shoyve es tivai u'mapil atzmai l'soicha eish al kiddush Hashem. And because he breaks his teva, he breaks his nature. Nature, a person is, I don't want to do that. A person doesn't want to do that. But a person breaks his nature. I feel the kedusha. He feels that pining, that longing, and it causes him that he wants to jump into that fire. Al kiddush Hashem of machshava toiva Hakadosh Baruch Hu mitzarfa l'maisa. And if a person, we know if a person has a good thought, Hakadosh Baruch Hu is mitzarfa l'maisa. And we say in Kriya Shema every day. We say in Kriya Shema, we mekabel ol malchus shemayim. When we say Shema. Right, we say Shema Yisrael, hear, O Israel. Right, Hashem Elokeinu, Yud Kei Vav Kei. There are two ideas of Yud Kei Vav Kei a person is supposed to have in mind every time we say Hashem's name. What are the two ideas? A person is supposed to think that Hakadosh Baruch Hu is Haya Hayveviyah. Right, Hakadosh Baruch Hu is past, present, and future, right? And we have to understand that it's all everything is Hashem, right? It's all Hashem. Unbelievable to understand these two ideas. All right, when I say the name of Hashem, Elokeinu, you have to think two things, right? What do you have to think when you say Elokeinu? You have to think that Hakadosh Baruch Hu is the takif ubala yecholos. Hakadosh Baruch Hu is the powerful, all able to do anything. And HaKadosh Baruch has all the might and anything to do. This is Elokeinu, the din. And we have to say that Hashem Echad. Right? So again, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem Echad, that really the chesed of the Yud Kei Vav Kei is really Echad. Because sometimes we think, like we say in the Aleinu, Hashem Echad u'Shmai Echad. Right? All the Sfarim ask, what does it mean? What is it? Hashem's name isn't one now? How can you say that? That's kfira. You can't say that HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name is not one now. So what are we saying? It'll be on that day when Mashiach is going to come. Please Hashem, it should be speedily in our day. When Mashiach comes, it'll be so clear to us. It'll be so clear to us that all of the din was really not din. All of the din was really all chesed. Hashem does everything. Kol ma David Rachmana letav Ovid. Everything HaKadosh Baruch Hu does, He does for our ultimate good. And we have to remember that all the time. We have to remember that. And then we say Hashem is Echad. Echad. What are we supposed to think when we say Echad? We're supposed to think Aleph is Hashem is Echad. And then the Ches, when we say the Ches of Echad, so we think that that's 8. There's the 7 firmaments above. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mamlich on the 7 firmaments above. He's king of everything up on high and down in this world. That's the 8. Up on high and down here. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is everything. And then we say the Dalet is the 4 directions. The Dalet is the 4 directions connected to the carbon oimer. When we did the carbon oimer tenufa, the kohen would take the carbon and he would the barley offering, that the new barley offering, he would take it and wave it in the 6 directions. And when we take our lulav, we do the same thing. We take our lulav, we shake the lulav in the 6 directions. Right? It's all the same idea that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is echad everywhere. So when we do that, and then it says, and then we should say b'chol levavecha or b'chol nafshecha or b'chol miyadecha. We're going to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'chol levavecha, b'chol nafshecha. That even if I have to give my nefesh al kiddush Hashem, I'm willing to do it. Or b'chol miyadecha, and with all my money, I'll serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu whatever I have to do. So here we're saying here, so the Rebbe of Melech is teaching us over here. If a person can imagine in his mind. He can imagine in his mind that there's a great fire. There's a great fire. The fire of the Eish Kodesh is burning. And he wants to be part of that. And I want to give myself over to the fire. I want to give myself over to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When you do that, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mitzaref the machshava lemaisa. That when you have a good thought, HaKadosh Baruch Hu considers as if you did it. Unbelievable that what we can accomplish with our thoughts. We know how important our thoughts are, right? If a person has chas v'shalom a thought of avodah zarah, so then you have to bring a carbon olah, right? And to bring a carbon olas, a burnt offering, right? There was unbelievable because I had a thought. But you see how important our thoughts are. We see how important the thoughts are, and how much we have to really work on that kedusha, because the kedusha is really the prerequisite for all all of Torah and everything else. Without kedusha, we don't have anything. Excuse me, I just had a drink. Okay, Nimsa she'enai sheichev ayoyshe bittel ela mekayem mitzvahs aseh diaraisa shel yisoid ha'amuna v'oimed shekol beis Yisrael nasin olav. And really anyone can do this. We have this beautiful mitzvah in this tachti b'soich b'nei Yisrael, in this kachi b'soich b'nei Yisrael, that I want to feel that kedusha. I want to be part of the kedusha b'nei Yisrael. I want to be part of that. So anytime a person feels that, and he feels he wants to be connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, how much HaKadosh Baruch Hu is so appreciative to that Jew for doing that, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mitzarek the machshava l'maisa. So this is a beautiful idea from the Holy King, the Naim Elimelech, Zechus Yogein Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael. Unbelievable, the Holy Rebbe Rav Melech. Okay, here we go. Now let's see something from Rav Nosson on another idea that we spoke about. Now let's see if I can move this thing here. Hold on. And make this a bit bigger. Here we go. And now why isn't it showing me the whole... Oh. Let's make it a little smaller. Oh, here, okay. All right, we'll adjust it. Here we go. Okay, here we go. So we have an idea of also in the parasha here. It says Uva Hashemesh v'toyev v'acha yoicha min hakochim eslach mayhu. So the idea is like this. Well, actually, we can read the passage before. Nefesh asher tiga boy v'tomei ad ha'erev v'lo yoicha min hakochim ki im rochatz b'sorei b'mayim. Okay, that's what the pasuk says. That if a person touched something and he became tameh, he touched the sheretz, he touched something that's impure, right? He became defiled. He has to rochatz, he has to go to the mikveh, and he has to wait till Hirav Shemesh, right? He has to wait till the Erev, which is called Hirav Shemesh, the sun sets, and then he becomes tahar, he becomes pure if he went to the mikveh. But if he didn't go to the mikveh, he's not going to be pure. Only if he went to the mikveh will he become pure. Then it says, "Uvah Shemesh v'toher v'acha yoichel min hakochim ki lach mayu," because it's again the lechem of the kohen, but he can't be makai. He can't eat the bread unless he's tahar. If he's tahar, then he can eat the bread. So here we go. Let's see what Rav Nosson says here. Something that's really amazing. Uvah Shemesh das lenovoin nokel. Shezeh pasuk. Something very simple, das nava, correct thought. It's simple to think about. Uva shemesh v'toyev v'acha yoicha min hakochim mirames al bia shimshoi b'yoyim ha'achron be'eis pitirosai. This is hinting to again. You may ask, a person may ask, okay, so what does this have to do with me? I'm not a Kohen, right? The person's not a Kohen. So then I can't eat the kachim, I can't eat these things, so it doesn't apply to me. No, Rav Nosson says, no, that's not true. It does apply to you. That's the setting of our sun. What does that mean? The last day of a person's life. It's hinting to the last day of a person's life. Chazal tell us that's called the sun setting. The sun setting is when the sun sets of a person's life. Shall call Yemei Chayav, of all the days of his life, Sheyesh Iker Gemar Tarosai Yiskerak Achar Bia Shimshoi Legamre. So we know that there are a lot of people that we do things, Chas v'Sholem, that we do Averis, that only Misa is Mechaper, right? There are certain things that we do that Tshuva works. But the kapara only works through the misa, through the end. So that's when She'ika Gemara Tarose, that's the final Tahara of the person, is when Yiska Rak Acha Biyashim Shaligamre, after the person's neshama leaves and they bury the person. Uchein Shamra Beiseinazal, in Yuman, Daf Peivav, Sheyesh Kama V'Kama, Sha'afal Pi She'osu Tshuva. There are many, many people that they made Tshuva. V'haya Lahem Yisurim Adayin Tshuva V'Yom Kippur V'Yisurim Toilin Ad Yoim Amisa She'mechaper. Right? The Gemara says that even though the person did Tshuva, and Tshuva works, V'haya Lahem Yisurim, and the person had his different pain troubles, and he went through the different trials and tribulations in life. Adayin Tshuva V'Yom Kippur V'Yisurim Toilin. But these things are still hanging. They're waiting. Ad Yoim Amisa Shemechaper. That's the final forgiveness that the person gets when he has the Yetzias HaNeshama and his neshama leaves him. That is the final forgiveness. If someone is in this aspect, and the person feels, look what I got myself involved in, and I have my problems, and he doesn't know what to do. And he thinks it's not going to help me even after I die. What's that? That's to be in Olam Haba. Everyone will have kachim in Olam Haba. Ki bevadai tamei legamrei l'chol tovel adayin ein moya loyher shemesh. Look at this idea. Look at this idea. Ki bevadai atamei legamrei v'loy tovel. If a person was tamei, he's tamei. He does his averis, he does his things, he touched things he shouldn't, he went to places he shouldn't, he was with people he shouldn't be with, right? V'loy tovel, but he didn't do a tefillah, he didn't go to the mikveh, he didn't go to be tovel. He didn't do tshuva. Adayin ein moya lo'her shemesh. So of course the hair of shemesh is not going to help him. In other words, if the person does tshuva, if the person went to the mikveh and he did tshuva, so of course when the sun sets, of course everything will be okay. He'll be able to eat min hakochim. But if he didn't do it, it's not going to work. Rak zeh sheyisyaga kol yoma b'chol ma she'over olam. Only someone that toiled all his life, b'chol ma she'over olam, anything that happened, that transpired, v'yischazik berotzon, and he strengthens his will, his desire to be close to Hashem, like we said, he's ready to jump into that fire of kedusha. V'tovel b'mikveh, he goes to mikveh, v'hiskil b'chol yoim l'tar atzmai, and every day he works to purify himself. Afal pi sheloi also b'yodei l'tar b'shleimus, even though he didn't get a complete forgiveness, afal pi chen, but still, leis reusa tova dis avid. Leis reusa tova dis avid. The Zohar says, again, Rabbi Shimon, that anyone that has a good thought, leis reusa tova dis avid, there's no rotzen toiv. There's nothing that a person has a good thought, a good action, a good word, that a person that nothing is lost. It's all recorded. It's all recorded. It's there for you to have, to be benefit from. Mikol shekein diba toiv u'maaseh toiv. We were just talking about before the Ratzon with the Rebbe of Melech, right? The idea that he has that Ratzon, that will, I want to be with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mitzaref, the machshava, the idea is connects the idea to the action. Mitzaref, machshava l'maisa. That when I think of something and I really want it, HaKadosh Baruch Hu considers as if I did it. So, leis she'usa tova disavid, I know Ratzon Tov that I have. And no word, good word that I said, a ma'aseh tov that did ad sheyiske sheyushim tarasei acha b'ya shimshoi b'yoyim ha'achron. Uvechinas uva shemesh v'tor v'acha yoicha min hakochim shu chelka yatov la'olam haba. That's our chelik hatov that's waiting for us in olam haba. It's our job here to do as much as we can. We have to work as much as we can, doing as much good mitzvahs and masim tovim, and having the right ritzonos, the right hirgusha, the hargoshim, the right feelings. I have to have the right feelings towards HaKadosh Baruch Hu, towards other Jews, towards Eretz Yisrael. I need to have the right feelings. If I do, all of these things are being counted towards us. All these things are being counted towards us. When I say a good word to somebody, how wonderful that is. How wonderful is that? That will have instantly, once the sun sets and we leave to the next world, everything we worked for in our lives is waiting for us. Everything we worked for, and every mitzvah we did, and every good thought that we had, any good word that we said, any mitzvah, ma'asim tov, any tzedakah that we gave is all waiting for us, mamish. It's waiting for us, each and every one of us respectively. Everything that we did is all there. Don't think that if you thought something, a good thought, I wanted to do something, so what does that mean? It means a lot. And you'll see the value after that day. On that day, you'll see the value. Then you'll see the value of all the good thoughts. So don't take this lightly. Haba yiske elav tekev acha bi shimshei de lo yitztarech lisgalgel the lisbol ma shetzarech lisbol mi shelo yechen es atzmai klau. Oy, but the person chas v'sholem that didn't prepare themselves in this world, and they get to the next world, the next stop. Right, the next stop, like the Chafetz Chaim said, this world is just the prosdor. This world is just the corridor, the antechamber to get us to the next world. But the person didn't use his right. He didn't use his time correctly in the antechamber, and he was just wasting his time with worldly things. And he just got involved with the Hevlei Olam Hazeh. And so this person is going to come up there, but he's going to have to pay for all the things he did. He's going to have to pay for it. That he didn't prepare himself. The example I always like to give is like this, when you're going to go on a trip. You're going to go on a trip. Some people like to do camping. Some people like to go on sightseeing trips, and they go traveling, right? So you have to make a list of things that you need, right? You know what you need, right? You need good walking shoes. You need your hat. You need maybe your sunglasses. You need a sweater. You need your jacket. You need boots. You need whatever you need for where you're going. You have to prepare. You have to prepare. If you prepare, when you get there, you have all the things. It's geschmack. Mamash geschmack. You can do what you have to do, right? So what are we doing over here? We're learning over here that all our life is about preparing ourselves for the next world. Everything we're doing now, we're packing things in our suitcase, in our spiritual suitcase, that we'll be able to use on that day when we arrive in Olam Haba. And we'll have what we need. Because you can't go to the supermarket there. You can't go to, you can't go order. There's no Amazon in Shemayim. You can't, if you forgot something, you can't order it. There's no such a thing. Everything we do here is what's counting, but there's things in this world that try to take us away from our goal. Chas v'sholem, but we have to stay focused. Stay focused. Shalei lizbal mi shalei heichen etzatz meklav b'mei chayav in his life. Ki oz bayoyim ha'achroim miskapsim kol ma shechotav toiv v'zeh oilam. Everything that you did good, they grab, they snatch up together, they add it all up. They give it to you. It's all there. Everything that you did, shechotav toiv, that all that you snatched up good. You snatched things. That's good. B'chol yom, every day. V'yom, b'chol rotzen v'rotzen. Anytime you had that rotzen, like we learned from the Rebbe Melech, I found that rotzen, I want to be close to you, Hashem. That's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants. He wants us to be close to Him. V'rotzen toiv shoyeloi b'chol yom v'yom. Kol yimei chayav, all of his life. V'rak zehu tikvosai v'hasharosai l'netzach. That's what his hope is going to be, and that's what's going to be there for him. That's his wealth that he's going to have in the next world. It's not the money that we have in our accounts over here. It's the money. They asked Rothschild, how much are you worth? He took out his accounting. He took out his accounting of all the tzedakah that he gave, and he said, "That's my worth. What I gave for tzedakah, that's my worth. What I have in this world is useless. I can't take it with me. It's useless." But when we give the tzedakah, when we give tzedakah, do we give tzedakah that way? Do we give tzedakah in the way thinking, wait a second, the money I'm giving, I'm actually putting it in my bank. I think, I'm taking my money, I'm giving it to him. I'm giving it to Yenim. I'm giving it to somebody else. Wait a second. You realize that when you're giving the money for tzedakah, you're actually depositing it in your own bank account, that you're going to have l'neitzach nitzachim, that's going to be there for you for all eternity? Unbelievable. Different way of thinking of giving tzedakah, different way of keeping of Shabbos. You're sitting at the table, you want to sit, you're thinking, should I sing this song? Should I not? Do I have to sing this Mirror Shabbos? But I do it. Yivaldik. You put away a big deposit in your bank account. All the things we do. You don't want to get up in the morning to go to Minyan, but I push myself to go to Minyan. And I answer, Amen Yehei Shmei Rabbah. And I say, Kodesh, Kodesh, Kodesh. Maidim Anachlach. I hear Birchas Kahanim. I say that the Yud Gimel Midas Arachim Hashem Korachim Echanim. When they open up the Aron Kodesh, I say when we say Vahimin Sayara, and we say Bir Shemei, how beautiful those words are. The words are pining to be close to Hashem, that the Torah is true, the Nevi'as is true. Everything, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you're right, you're truthful. These are what it's all about. Was Yeda v'yovin kolecha v'echad hachilek shebei mi shehishtadel v'rodav achar atachlis b'ritzoynis chazokim. You'll see then the real truth of who was the one that was running through his life. And he was the guy that was running and working hard and having those right feelings towards Hashem. They were strong, b'chol yoim. Even though he didn't get it b'shleimus. Okay. It wasn't b'shleimus. And then we'll see very clearly who was the guy that we thought, this guy's so successful. This guy's so successful. In the next world, we'll see who was really successful. We'll see the real truth of who is really the successful one. Not the ones that think that we think that, this guy, he's doing so well. I'm not doing so well. Yeah, but if your avodas Hashem is higher, and you're giving your tzedakah, even though you're giving less tzedakah, but you're giving what you can give, that means so much to the Rebbeinu Shalom. That's something something so amazing. And then we'll see the difference between these two. We'll see the difference. Bein mi shaloi hishtadol kla. Who one that didn't put in his hishtadlut. He didn't put in his effort when he was doing what he was doing. K'may shekosav v'shavtem v'isa beit tzadik l'rosha. Right, and the Navi Malachi says, "V'shavtem." When we go back, when we lie down, v'shavtem risa bein tzaddik l'rasha. Then we'll see who was the tzaddik and who the rasha was. V'yeh chiluk afilu bein mi sheshoa pirkei meya pamim l'mi sheshoa pirkei meya ve'achad. And then we'll see the difference between somebody that even learned, right? Chazal say there's no difference. There's a big difference between somebody that studied their learning 100 times to someone that studied their learning 101 times. It's such a difference. Mikol shekain, bein hamishtadel le'ein mishtadel. Certainly so. The Gemara in Chagiga says this. It's on Amid Tes Amid Aleph. Mikol shekain bein shehamistadel le'ein mishtadel. He who had put in his efforts in this world for his avodas Hashem and who didn't. And the main way you're going to do this is by coming close to the tzaddikim. If we come close to the tzaddikim, then we can come to the truth. We can come to the truth of the Torah. That's why it's so important that we know that we have the Yom Tov of Rashbi. We understand that Rashbi brought a hope to the world. He brought a hope to the world, a tikkun, a light to the world. And he said that all of his rebbeim, all of his rebbeim were sitting there, and they said that the Torah was going to be forgotten by Klal Yisrael. And he said, Lord, Torah lo tishkach, it will not be forgotten. He went against everybody. Could you imagine that? The young man goes against, he was a young man, he goes against Rabbi Akiva. Could you imagine that? His Rebbe says the Torah is going to be forgotten. No, lo tishkach, it won't be. It won't be forgotten. We need the tzaddikim. We need to believe in the tzaddikim. The tzaddikim are there batting for us. We have to believe in the tzaddikim. So much so we say in Ashmai Nesrei, Ala tzaddikim ala chasidim. Val ziknei sheres amcha beis Yisrael, val pleitas beis Ephraim. Val gedi atzedik v'yehemu na rachamecha. We want rachmanis because we believe in the tzaddikim. Look how important it is to believe in the tzaddikim. It's a bracha we say every day in Shemai Esrei, 3 times a day. Allah tzaddikim Allah chasidim. We talk about the tzaddikim. If the truth is true, the tzaddikim and echlolim bazikenim the kedusha ha'oiskim la'aleis kol ha'noiflim v'arachoikim mi'oid mimekaymam, and they're working so hard to lift up all of those that fell down, that were rochaik mi'oid, that were so distant. This is what the Baal Shem HaKodesh taught us. The Baal Shem HaKodesh taught us that even a simple Jew that's not so knowledgeable and he doesn't know so much, and that his service of Hashem is so important. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes such pride and such pleasure in every single Jew that's serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This is what the Baal Shem HaKodesh taught us. Unbelievable. The tzaddikim, where would we be with the tzaddikim? Shem l'rotzain elyon, ashrei shoiches bahem. How fortunate is those that grab on and believe in the teachings of the tzaddikim. This is really what it's all about, is teachings of the tzaddikim, believing in the tzaddikim, in the kedusha, the koyach of the tzaddik. And then this leads us to the last piece that I want to learn. Baruch Hashem, we have a little bit more time. And then we talk about the mayade, we talk about here in the pasuk. Yeah, this is very interesting here. Right? Here we're going to talk about the mayade. We say this in our kiddush on Yom Tif, right? Hashem, right? How does it start off? Sheishis yomim taz te'aseh malachtecha u'v'yoyim ha'shvi Shabbos Shabbosa nikra kodesh kol malacha loisasu. Right? Shabbos hila Hashem b'chol moishvei seicha. Isn't that interesting? How the Torah is telling us about the Mayadim, but you see the next pasuk, the first pasuk, the introduction, is really Sheishis Yomim. Right? The 6 days of the week. Here, let's translate it. Sheishis Yomim Tasam Malach Techa. Of the 6 days of the week, you should do your work. U'v'yoyim ha'shviya, on the 7th day, Shabbos Shabboson, it should be a Shabbos, a Shabbos of Shabbos. Mikra Kodesh, it's called Mikra Kodesh. It's a calling of holiness. Kol malacha leisasu, you shouldn't do any kind of work. The 39 prohibitions, the avos and the toldos of them. Shabbos hu Hashem. It's a Shabbos is for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The chol ma'ishvei seichem, wherever you dwell, wherever we are, we have Shabbos is upon us. It doesn't matter if you're in Eretz Yisrael or you're in Tahiti. It makes no difference. Shabbos is Shabbos, no matter where. B'chol ma'ishvei seichem. Okay, so now it's very interesting why that HaKadosh Baruch Hu introduces the idea of Shabbos with all the regalim, right? And now we're going to see something that Rav Nosson wrote, that's something so beautiful on this idea. Okay, so it says like this: Mayadei Hashem sheishis yom ta'aseh malacha v'yom hashvi Shabbos nikra techila lemikrei kodesh ki kol haroshei chadashim. All the Rosh Chodeshes that we have at Yom Tovim kula mikavlim kedushasam mikedusha Shabbos kodesh. All the Yom Tovim that we have, everything that comes, like we say in the L'chadaydi, hi mikor habrocha. Shabbos is the root of all blessing, comes from Shabbos. All kedusha comes from Shabbos. It all stems from Shabbos. And like we said, that really all the Yom Tovim come from a Klal Yisrael. We are Mekadesh the Chodesh. When we're Mekadesh the Chodesh, that's when the Rosh Chodesh is. When we are Mekadesh the Chodesh. So it says like this: Shabbos nikra techila lemikrei kodesh ki kol roshei chadashim v'ayomim tovim kula mikablim kedushasa mikedusha Shabbos kodesh. They all get their kedusha from Shabbos kodesh. Now we know that's why we have, let's say, Shabbos Hagadol before Pesach, because the Yom Tov of Pesach gets its kedusha from the Shabbos. That's why it's Shabbos Hagadol. And then we have Shabbos Tshuva. Shabbos Tshuva, unbelievable. Shabbos Tshuva is before Yom Kippur. We have Shabbos Tshuva. Again, Shabbos brings the kedusha of everything. Mikra Kodesh. Ki kol Roshei Chadashim v'Yom Tovim kulam mikablim kedushas mikidusha Shabbos v'al kein Parshas Hamoedim Hischil. That's why the Parsha of the Moedim, the Parsha that the Torah talks about the holidays, begins Eile Moedei Hashem Sheishes Yomim Tasa Melachtecha v'Yom Ashri Shabbos L'Hashem Elokecha v'Achar Kach Meforesh Shara Moedim. And then afterwards, the Torah gives us all the rest of the holidays. Shabbos because Shabbos is the beginning of calling of holiness. It's the head of the whole of everything. Yom Tov Yisrael whom the Mekadshe lo. It's the when it comes to the holidays, it's Klal Yisrael that's Mekadesh the holidays, like we said. It's upon us to be Mekadesh the Chodesh. And then we know that when we're Mekadesh the Chodesh, so we know like when we're Mekadesh the Chodesh of the first year, of the first month of the year, Nisan, so that's when it's going to be dependent when Pesach is going to come out. Based on when Pesach is going to come out, 49 days later is going to be above the Sivan, and that's going to be the time that we get the Torah. That's when we get Kabbalah HaTorah, and so on and so forth. Whenever Rosh Chodesh is, that's what determines when the holiday is going to be based on us. The whole idea of Yom Tov is to be mechale, to reveal the das of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shenasa yedei shemegalen ha'astora, we reveal the hidden. Shezeh toli b'Yisrael, that's toli, that's dependent on Klal Yisrael. She'eim tzrichin la'asay ba'avodas Hashem of a Torah, she'i shemay de kutcha brichla. Because we study Torah, and we know that the Torah is all the names of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. She'i shema de kutcha brichla. All the words in the Torah make up the names of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When you read the Torah, you're calling Hashem. Ve'al yedei zeh koirin es hachai hachayim umamshichim imenu chiyas hu b'chinas hadas. So when you learn Torah, you're calling Hashem. When I want to talk to you, I want to call you, I say Yankel, Shimon, Joey, Jack, whatever it is, I call your name, you come over, you know I want to talk to you. When you read the Torah, you're reading Hashem's names. You're reading the Kadosh Baruch Hu's names. You're calling Hashem, and that brings us the das, the knowledge, the recognition of Hashem. Shayadei is Galan HaStorah, and is Hapchin L'das, we take what's hidden, and we turn it into das, into knowledge. Godol b'yoser. Nimtza shekol zeh toli ba'avodas Yisrael. All of this is dependent on how I serve the Rebbeinu Shalem. Aval kedusha Shabbos hi kvia v'kayama me'atzma. Like we said, Shabbos is kitcha b'kayama, kvia b'kayama. It comes in every 7 days of Shabbos. It's not dependent on us. Ain't shum astora, v'lo shum pagam magia l'sham. There's no hidden, there's nothing hidden, there's no damage, nothing can blemish the Shabbos. Afilu b'shas astora. Even in a time of Hastorah, in a place of Hastorah that is hiding, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is hiding. Like we know, Esther min Torah, Hasta Aster es Panai. There's a Hastorah, there's a higher hiddenness. Hiding of Hashem, Sha'oz Ksiv Chadshechem U'Ma'adeichem Sona Nafshi. Those that say the Maimer of the Zohar that on before B'Yom the Shabbos Sudas Tanina, right? When we talk about on Shabbos morning, there's a little Maimer that you could say before you have the Suda, and we talk about there that the Navi says Chadshechem U'Ma'adeichem Sona Nafshi. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says through the Navi, your Rosh Chodashim, your Rosh Chodeshes, when it comes to your Mayadechim, your Halei Son and Nafshi, Hashem says, I despise them. Hilu Shabbos like Kama, but when it comes to Shabbos, Hashem doesn't say that at all. Kama Chachmeinazal, Ki Shabbos Hu Shemai de Kitcha Bricha, because Shabbos is one of the names of Hashem. Ukibiyachal b'Shabbos Nimshach, and then Nimshach when it's Gala, Hachiyas Mechaya Chayim. It's coming the source from the Chaya Chayim, from HaKadosh Baruch Hu Mamash. Ain't Shum Astara, Migas L'Sham, nothing touches, nothing reaches to the Shabbos. Ki Be'etzem HaKedusha Kiviyachal Ein Pigam Magia L'Sham Ki Yadua. No Kedusha cannot, no Pigam can come to the Kedusha of Shabbos. Ki Iu Loi Ishtani B'chol Asa, Shezeh Bechinas Kedusha Shabbos Tviya V'Kayama. Ki Kedushasa Hu Mimenu Yizbarach Ba'atzmai. We said that we make the Rosh Chodesh, we make the Rosh Chodesh, we make the holidays. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one that's Mekadesh the Shabbos. Kedusha Shabbos Shkiya V'Kayama Ki Kedushasa Hu Mimeni Yizbarach Ba'atzma. It's mamash HaKadosh Baruch Hu infuses the Kedusha, the holiness, the sanctity into the Shabbos. Fascinating. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is doing that himself. And even in the Golus. And even when there's a Hastorah, you don't see Hashem in the world. You don't see anything like you have the times that we're living today. You don't see anything. Although I say that's nonsense. All of our enemies around the world, all of the enemies try to send all the rockets and they try to destroy Klal Yisrael. But Baruch Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is protecting us. How could we say there's a story when they send just this morning, I was giving the shir, we were finishing the shir this morning at Shira David. We give the Baruch Hashem, we have the beautiful Olam that comes to learn every day. We learn the Kutei Halachos. So I was finishing the shir, I told the guys we should all have a wonderful day. We should all hear B'Sayra Tovus and the siren went off. Well, we ought to go on to the Mamad. So I said to the guys, listen, we're going to go in B'Simcha now. Why? There's a mitzvah. What's the mitzvah? Shmatim Esnav Shesechem. Hey, we're going to go do a mitzvah now. It's a mitzvah to go into the Mamad. It's a mitzvah to go into the Maklat. This is a mitzvah to do. So we went singing into the Mamad. Baruch Hashem. We went singing, we sat there, and we said Tehillim in the Mamad for the 10 minutes that we have to stay in there. Baruch Hashem. Who could say there's a story in the world, really, when you realize how HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mamish protecting us? It's fascinating. I'm telling you, it's mamish amazing. Mamish amazing. Kolkan. Ad shekiviyachol nifkam kedushas chodesh v'yom tov kenal. But when it comes to chodesh and yom tov, there could be a pagam. Afal pichein ein kedusha Shabbos nivgemes, but there's no pagam in the kedusha Shabbos v'chinas elu v'ilu Shabbos loy ka'omar. It doesn't say on Shabbos that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has that sinner when it comes to Shabbos. Hashem does not say that. He does not say that. Right? Like kama. Valkein adarab. Mikidusha Shabbos koirin es achiyos v'adas l'soicha yomim tovim. Like we said, the Shabbos is what gives the das, what gives the knowledge of Hashem. You see the greatness of Hashem. L'soicha yomim tovim. The Kedusha of Hashem fills the yomim tovim through the Shabbos. The Roshei Chadoshim as well. Ad she'tizgale ha'astora b'hem. Gam bahem the dishapech ledas until it'll turn into das. So it's Shabbos is really the Mekar HaBracha, like we said. Shabbos is the Mekar, is the source of all holiness, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'chvaydi b'atzmai fills the Shabbos with the Kedusha. Unbelievable. Balkein ha'geula teluya b'shmira Shabbos, and that's why, guys, we're waiting for the final geula. And it's dependent on Shmira Shabbos. If we keep the Shabbos, we take the nega like we learned, and we turn the negoyim into oneg. Take the word nega, all the nega tzaras that we learned about in Parshas Mitzayra, Tazriya Mitzayra, all the tzaras, it's a nega. Nega is the same letters as oneg. Turn the damage, turn the pagam, turn the hastorah into Einik Shabbos, the light in the Shabbos, the Shabbos. Shezeh ikki kedusas yom tov ve'al kein esgala tliya b'shmir Shabbos kamer Rabbi Seinu Zal ki al yedei Shabbos nisgala hastorah v'nis hepech l'das, we turn it into das. Shezeh ikka bechinas hagula. That's the final. That's the geula that we're waiting for. We're waiting for that geula. Where's it going to come from? From Shabbos. So here, just to say a mimer from the holy Kedushas Levi. The Kedushas Levi asked the question. We know the question that one Mandamer says that if we keep one Shabbos, then we'll be redeemed. But we know that they say we have to keep two Shabbosim, and we paskin that way. You have to keep two Shabbosim. But he said really the two of them are saying the same thing. Well, wait a minute, they're saying the same thing. How can they be saying the same thing? One says you need one Shabbos, the other one says you need two Shabbosim. How can they be saying the same thing? He said very simple. He said if you work hard to prepare the first Shabbos, and you have the first Shabbos, and you keep the first Shabbos, the Shabbos is going to infuse the Kedusha into you, that your week will go good, and you'll have Mamela the second Shabbos. But if you don't have the first Shabbos, you won't have the second Shabbos. So they're really saying the same thing. You have to have one in order to be able to have two. You can't have two without the one. So really, they're saying the same thing. Only the Kedushas Levi can make shalom, and he could show you how there's a mamash a machlekes, a blatant machlekes. But we said anytime there's a machlekes l'shem shemayim, a machlekes l'shem shemayim is much higher than shalom. A machlekes l'shem shemayim is even higher than shalom. It reaches the highest place because it's l'shem shemayim. You're trying to find the emes. And here you take the tzaddik, the Kedushas Levi, he can show you how it's really the emes. He shows you that you need one Shabbos, and if you keep the one Shabbos, the schluss of that one Shabbos will give us the ability to come through the week, to have a good week, and work through during the week. So that way we can have Sunday, it'll be a holy day, and Monday it'll be holy, and Tuesday, which is stemming from the last Shabbos. And then we know that when it comes to Wednesday, we're already drawing from the Shabbos above, ahead. Yesterday we were working on Shabbos Achrei Ma'is Kedoshim, right? It was Tuesday. Today's Wednesday. Wednesday we're already drawing from Shabbos Emor. For the holy Parsha of Emor, where we have the idea of the Shabbos is introduced, and all the Kedushas where it's all comes from Shabbos. And that's why Shabbos is the prerequisite for all of the Yomim Tovim, all of the Rosh Chodesh and everything. I wish everyone that we should have a wonderful Shabbos. We should have mamish a wonderful Shabbos, and we should have a freilich in Lag Ba'omer mamish. And the schluss of Rabbi Shimon, the schluss of the holy tzaddik Rabbi Shimon should bring the light mamish into the world, mamish into the world, and we should all feel that closeness to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, like the Rebbe Rab Melech said, that if you just imagine in your mind there's a big fire, I want to be jumping into that fire. That fire is the fire of Lag Ba'omer. That's what he's talking about. That fire, like I feel I want to be together with you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I want to feel that closeness with you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We should mamish feel have those rutzim. And don't forget what he said in the Skachi, B'Seich B'nei Yisrael. That's a mitzvah d'oraisa. So everyone, take care. I wish everyone, thank you for joining. And everyone that will listen, I wish you all a good Shabbos and a good Yom. And everything should be well. We should all hear Besorah Tovot.